90% of new guitar players quit in the first year, and a lot of those quit in the first 90 days. At least that's what Fender, one of the world's biggest guitar manufacturers, found out when they did a study in 2015, but that stat seems pretty unchanged. But why do so many players quit so fast? Sometimes having a teacher is worse than not having one at all. Stories have been floating around for years, and I'm pretty sure you've heard it from somebody before, where guitar players have started their guitar lessons with their first instructor, and that person has only been interested in teaching them scales, chords, all the notes on the fretboard before they could even think about learning their favourite songs. And that's the problem. Nobody has ever walked into a guitar shop to buy their first guitar and thought, man, I cannot wait to learn a C flat 13 minor augmented over diminished B7. Why in the world would a guitar teacher think that boring their brand new student with music theory straight out of the gate is the right thing to do? You pick up your first guitar because you want to play your favourite songs, write music, and just be involved in this thing that you love. Not because you want to learn a certain scale or know what all the squiggly fucking lines mean on a piece of music paper. If new players don't capture the fire and excitement of playing guitar straight away, then of course they're going to quit. Now, what I'm about to say might be controversial to some, but if you're thinking about quitting guitar because you're just not interested in what you're doing, then this is for you. You can be a sick guitar player without knowing a single bit of music theory. You don't need to know chord shapes, you don't need to know scales, you don't need any of that stuff to be great. If you can read tab and you can practice what you're reading, you are golden, dude. That really is all you need to be able to play your favourite music and even write your own. When I first started playing guitar, my guitar teacher just taught me songs. We'd sit in his little practice room at the back of his garage, he'd tab out a new song for me to learn, and we'd sit there and practice them. That's it. That comes with its own set of problems, but what he managed to do was get me excited about playing guitar, learning all the songs that I wanted to learn, and even writing my own music for my first band. That's what playing guitar is all about. But I'm not saying you should never learn music theory. It's super useful because it's the language that musicians use to talk to each other, and it will make you a better player, but in the beginning, it's just not that important. Truth be told, it's fucking boring, dude, and there's no real way to apply it to the stuff that you're actually learning at the beginning. So if you're feeling like giving up because you're not interested in guitar right now, remember the reason that you picked it up in the first place, playing all the songs that you love, and make that your goal. Even better, if it's your teacher that's making it super boring and feel like a chore, then find a new one who can make it more interesting and get you excited to pick up this instrument. So I just mentioned taking the reason that you started playing and making that your goal, but where do you see yourself on guitar? When I first started playing guitar, I wanted to be in a band. I wanted to be travelling around, playing shows with all my best mates, and probably not showering, because that's what you do when you're too busy ripping it up on stage every night. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's unrealistic, because you absolutely can do it with enough time and enough effort. But my first bands imploded right around the time that I needed to get a real job, and that all just kind of unfolded into me losing my direction around my early 20s. There were a good few years where I barely played any guitar. If you've got no direction and no goals, then it's quite easy for the motivation to play to just slip away, and you might end up putting your guitar down and not picking it back up again. The good news is that it's super easy to fix that. If you're in that in-between space where you want to play guitar but nothing is getting you excited to do it, the likelihood is that you just need to rethink your reason for playing and find the thing that gets you fired up to play. Thankfully, I found it again when I settled down in this house with my missus. When we got settled in, I decided it was time to buy my then dream guitar, a Fender Jim Root Telecaster, and just start learning Slipknot songs one after the other. I quickly remembered just how much I loved playing guitar, and my motivation came flooding back, but it also started to evolve. I'd learned a load of songs, but what if I started to write my own? Maybe knowing some more music theory had helped me do that. Things just naturally snowballed from there, and now I've got my own music on streaming platforms. I'm making guitar content for YouTube and helping you guys with the problems that I faced when I was coming up as a guitar player. And that's the secret. Your very first humble goals on guitar, like learning a few songs, will just naturally evolve and eventually give you a really strong sense of direction as to where you want to go with your guitar career. Having something to work towards keeps you fired up to play, and you never know where that's going to take you. Like going from sitting in the spare room learning Slipknot songs to having now made some connections with guitar companies and spoken to some really cool people in the industry, all just because I wanted to play a bit of guitar. If you keep at it and find your direction, you never know where you're going to end up. You might be sitting here now watching this thinking, yeah, that's all well and good, but it's just too fucking difficult. And I get that. Guitar is admittedly a really fucking hard instrument to get very good at, but it's super easy to think that the growth curve for a guitar player is like this. when really it's like this. Like, have you seen that really old internet cartoon where there's some guy with a pickaxe and he's been digging and digging and digging for ages until he decides to give up, but right as he gives up he's just about to crack into a massive deposit of diamonds? Like, that's literally guitar. Sometimes you'll come across something like a technique or a solo or a riff, but it's just too fucking hard to play and it feels like you're banging your head against a wall. You've been working on it for ages and it just feels like you're making no progress at all. Well, sometimes you just need to be that guy with a pickaxe, but instead of giving up, make a couple of changes to your technique and just keep digging. There's a reason that you hear guitarists all the time saying that they've plateaued. After the beginner period where you've been soaking up all this knowledge and just getting better and better, the improvements start to come in quick bursts with really long periods of not very much improvement at all. That's just how it is, and during these long periods of only making very slight improvements, you need to remind yourself that your ability as a guitar player is not judged on the one thing that you can't do right now. Instead, think about how much you've grown as a guitar player over the time you've been playing, and one, analyze the thing that you're trying to learn and what you could do to get better at it, or two, really evaluate whether you even need to learn it anyway to be where you want to be. I had a moment like this recently with my alternate picking. It's always been a part of my skill set that I just wished I was better at, and for absolutely years I've been trying and failing to even get a little bit better. Literally a couple of weeks ago I was just noodling, watching YouTube, and for some reason I angled my pick slightly differently while I was trying to do this alternate pick section, and like, there it was. The speed and accuracy that I've been looking for years. Sometimes it's the smallest things that make the biggest differences. But in the same breath, if that had never happened, I could carry on playing quite happily, knowing that alternate picking just isn't one of my strengths, but there are plenty of other things that I think I'm good at. I didn't need to learn it, but I could put the effort in to do it if I wanted to. Thinking about improving at guitar like that takes all the pressure off you, dude. If you're feeling plateaued and ready to give up playing, then just focus on your strengths instead and how far you've come. Keep playing, and the improvements that you want will likely just come when you're not even thinking about it. But maybe guitar just still doesn't feel natural in your hands and you're struggling to reach all the notes you need to. This video will show you how to fix your reach in minutes, because really you'll never know how good you could be if you quit. Thank you so much for watching, dude. Keep playing. I'll see you in the next one.